JP Morgan Health Conference 2024. I am delighted to be joined in the studio by Mahesh Karande, the CEO of Omega Therapeutics. Omega made some very big news earlier this week with a partnership on obesity, the sort of area of incredibly hot focus in the biotech and pharma markets, with Novo, an incredibly hot company in that space. Tell us what Omega is going to bring to Novo and how the partnership will work.
Yeah, we are super excited about that partnership, Christine, and thank you for having me. This partnership is hugely validating for from Novo Nordisk standpoint for Omega, right? Omega's platform tackles some very fundamental biology. So if you think about what's happening in the obesity space, right? People are using GLP-1s, and GLP-1s are used sort of in a way where they're not treating the underlying disease necessarily, but treating symptoms. So people feel less hungry.
Right.
I mean, less hungry.
You're right, less hungry,
right,
yeah.
Exactly. Less hungry leads to satiation and also gastric emptying, right? But if you stop taking GLP-1s, right, the weight comes back with a vengeance. Exactly, with a vengeance. So if you think about a next generational drug, one of the areas of science which is super interesting is this process of thermogenesis. Simply put, it's turning white fat into brown fat. So babies are born with 100% brown fat, right? And as we grow older, we develop a lot of white fat, which essentially just sits around and leads to obesity.
Omega Therapeutics, a biotech player, is making waves in the medical field by focusing on cutting-edge epigenomic mRNA medicines that can regulate gene expression. They're not just stopping at one disease either. They're aiming to tackle a range of illnesses like liver cancer, lung cancer, and obesity. Now, what's caught investors' attention is their recent collaboration with Novo Nordisk, a big name in the healthcare industry. Together, they're working on a drug to combat obesity by targeting metabolism, which could potentially help millions of people worldwide. But here's the thing. Omega's approach is still pretty speculative. It's a risky bet, no doubt about it. However, their groundbreaking technology and the backing of a heavyweight like Novo Nordisk make a compelling case for cautious optimism. That's why, despite the uncertainties, I'd lean towards giving it a buy rating. But, and this is a big but, investors need to be smart about how they deploy their capital. We're still waiting on more details, especially about any cost-cutting measures Omega might take, so it's wise to tread carefully. Omega Therapeutics, listed as Omega on the NASDAQ, has been around since 2017, born out of Flagship Pioneering, a biotech incubator. They're definitely one to watch in the biomedicine space. Let's break down what Omega Therapeutics is all about. They're a biotech company based in Cambridge, Massachusetts, with roots in Flagship Pioneering, a hub known for churning out innovative biotech ventures. Now, what sets Omega apart is their game-changing platform for epigenomic mRNA therapeutics. This fancy term basically means they're using mRNA to tweak how our genes behave without altering the DNA itself. Here's how it works. Omega's platform combines computational genomics, AI, and machine learning to create tailor-made treatments for various diseases. They're not just focusing on one illness either. Their pipeline covers a wide range from liver cancer to lung diseases and even alopecia. Now, why is this technology so exciting? Well, it's all about precision. By targeting gene expression at the RNA level, Omega's therapies can essentially switch genes on or off before they even start producing proteins. It's like rewiring the cellular machinery to combat specific diseases at their core. This approach holds a ton of promise because it's highly customizable. Omega can fine-tune their treatments to target specific genes and adjust their activity levels, which could lead to more effective therapies with fewer side effects. Plus, by intervening at the pre-transcription stage, they're essentially getting ahead of the game, tackling diseases before they even kick into gear. In a nutshell, Omega Therapeutics is harnessing the power of mRNA to revolutionize how we treat diseases. It's a cutting-edge approach that could change the game in biomedicine as we know it. Here's the deal with Omega Therapeutics' approach. They're diving into the world of genetic medicine with a twist. Instead of directly tinkering with our DNA like CRISPR does, Omega's focusing on fine-tuning how our genes behave without actually changing the DNA sequence itself. Picture it like this. CRISPR is like a surgeon wielding a scalpel, going in and snipping out the problematic genes. On the other hand, Omega's method is more like being a DJ, adjusting the volume of gene expression to get the right balance without making any cuts. Now, both CRISPR and Omega's platform aim to tackle the root causes of diseases, but they do it in different ways. While CRISPR goes straight to the source and physically alters the DNA, Omega's approach is more about tweaking the gene expression controls, kind of like fine-tuning a radio station to get the perfect sound. Omega's RNA approach seems a bit less intrusive because it doesn't mess with the DNA itself. Instead, it's all about regulating how those genes are expressed. If Omega can successfully develop and roll out this technology, it could be a game-changer in the world of precision medicine, offering a less invasive route to tackling genetic diseases. And that could be a story worth investing in. Let's break down Omega Therapeutics' product pipeline. In the oncology realm, they've got OTX-2002, which is currently in phase 1-2 of clinical trials. This drug zeroes in on the MYC gene, which, when it goes into overdrive, can fuel the growth of various cancers by making cells multiply out of control. OTX-2002 specifically targets hepatocellular carcinoma, a type of liver cancer. Then, there's OTX-21101, also in preclinical stages, taking aim at the MYC gene but for non-small cell lung cancer. For diseases influenced by multiple genes, Omega's got a preclinical medicine targeting the CXCL8 gene, which is tied to inflammation. And let's not forget their collaboration with Novo Nordisk, where they're delving into drug discovery for controlling obesity. Lastly, there's their focus on the HNF4A gene in regenerative medicine, specifically linked to liver regeneration, still in the preclinical phase. Now, looking at the big picture, most of Omega's research is still in the experimental and preclinical stages, with only OTX-2002 advancing into clinical trials. But don't sleep on their collaboration with Novo Nordisk. Even though it's early days, it's poised to become a major player for Omega, especially since Novo Nordisk foots the bill for R&D costs. That makes it a low-risk venture, where Omega can quickly put their mRNA platform to work. Now, let's talk about their partnership with Novo Nordisk, which kicked off on January 4, 2024. They're teaming up to tackle cardiometabolic diseases, with Celerity, another flagship pioneering company, joining the fray to tackle MASH disease progression. This collaboration aims to harness Omega's technology platform to develop a fresh approach to managing obesity using specially designed epigenomic controllers to amp up metabolic activity. This obesity management program is potentially a big deal, considering the staggering number of adults worldwide grappling with obesity. By tinkering with the body's energy expenditure regulation, Omega's platform could pave the way for more effective and sustainable weight control by revving up metabolic rates. The collaboration between Omega Therapeutics and Novo Nordisk is poised to shake up the weight loss scene. They're diving into preclinical drug development together, with Novo Nordisk stepping in once things hit the clinical stage. Considering Omega's track record of getting there before, teaming up with a pharma powerhouse like Novo Nordisk seems like a smart move. What sets Omega apart is its approach to weight loss. Steering clear of the typical appetite control route seen in most drugs, instead, they're delving into epigenomic controllers, a potential game changer if they can pull it off. And it seems Novo Nordisk is betting big on Omega's tech, with a whopping $532 million upfront payment on the table, plus a slew of other financial incentives tied to milestones and royalties. It's not just a financial boost for Omega, it's a vote of confidence in their mRNA platform as a solution for obesity. Now, let's talk numbers. Omega's financial situation is a bit of a puzzle. They've got around $73.77 million in cash, marketable securities, and restricted cash, but they're also saddled with about $18.89 million in debt and $109.54 million in lease liabilities. Crunching the numbers, it's clear they're burning through cash fast, with an estimated cash runway of less than a year. That's why their recent pivot in strategy, though still vague on specifics, seems like a prudent move. Focusing on their flagship drug OTX-2002 and the mystery project with Novo Nordisk could help stem the cash bleed and keep the company afloat. If they can execute this pivot effectively, it could bode well for their long-term prospects. So, cautiously optimistic about Omega's potential, I'd lean towards a buy rating, banking on their mRNA platform's promising future. Consider this a cautious buy recommendation, but not without its fair share of risks. The crux of the buy rating relies on management's ability to shift gears strategically. mainly towards OTX-2002 and the obesity drug co-developed with Novo Nordisk. This move should help curb their cash burn significantly since Novo Nordisk is footing the bill for the obesity program's R&D costs, while OTX-2002 expenses could be trimmed down to the essentials. While I couldn't find a precise breakdown of their R&D spending, it made up a hefty 74.7% of Omega's operating expenses in 2023. By refocusing on just one project instead of juggling multiple, the hope is that operating costs would take a nosedive. Furthermore, slashing general and administrative G&A expenses using a similar cost-cutting approach could further rein in their cash burn to more sustainable levels. However, the lack of concrete details on how they plan to execute these cost-saving measures is concerning. Without a clear roadmap, dilution seems inevitable, especially considering their outstanding $60.00 million ATM equity offering and a market cap of just $201.3 million. This means they have the capacity to dilute equity significantly at their discretion. Therefore, the buy rating assumes investors are aware of these risks and are willing to play it safe. It's all about strategic positioning and managing risk exposure until the fog clears on Omega's financial trajectory. In essence, Omega's platform shows immense promise, especially highlighted by its collaboration with Novo Nordisk. This partnership not only validates Omega's potential, but also opens doors for future collaborations in various fields given the versatility of its technology. However, there's a cloud of uncertainty looming over Omega's financials, particularly regarding how its cash burn will evolve once Novo Nordisk shoulders the expenses for the obesity program. The lack of clarity on Omega's strategic pivot amidst dwindling cash reserves adds to the speculative nature of investing in the company. Yet, the potential rewards are equally substantial. Just the Novo Nordisk collaboration alone could rake in revenues of up to $532 million, dwarfing Omega's current market cap by 2.6 times. Therefore, while the risk is palpable, the potential payoff warrants a cautious buy rating at this juncture.